We all know the economy is going through a really rough patch right now, and it's always going to be up and down. I have been through several cycles in my practicing career, and there are things that you can do to protect your practice and especially your income and your team's income. There's nothing worse than having to lay off team, and I want to make sure you're ready to actually hire, not lay off. Let's take a look. It's hard enough building a profitable practice when the sun is shining, but what happens when winter is coming? And that is what we're facing. I want you to buckle up and get ready to take some notes, because this is the secret to bulletproofing your practice during this economy. I've done it, and I'm going to give you the exact steps. In fact, I'm going to share with you not just what I did, but I'm going to share with you what we actually have done with lots of practices. And let me just give you an example of Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob, we were going into this downturn and he had already bought a second location. He was transitioning, going from one location to two locations, and they were struggling. There's a lot of moving pieces and a lot more overhead as you begin your expansion. And now the economy was dropping. Imagine the pit in the stomach when you start to look at your savings start to go down instead of going up. It gets scary when your team is coming to you wondering, how are we going to fare this economic storm? But Dr. Bob was smart enough to implement two key things. The first thing that he implemented was making sure he was making data-driven decisions. He immediately got our data-driven dashboard. This data-driven dashboard allowed him and his team to see exactly the efficiency in operations. Every business, I don't care what size it is, has inefficiencies, and those inefficiencies tweaked create more profitability. And when multiple levers of that get tweaked, we have a multiplying effect that really can drive incredible profitability by actually working less. That creates efficiency. So having a data-driven practice, and Dr. Bob immediately went into that process and began working on that. The next piece, I want to give you an analogy of a table. If you had a table with 4 legs and I came in and cut one of those legs off, how stable would that table be? Be a little wobbly. Have you ever been to a restaurant sitting at that wobbly table? It's a miserable experience. Nobody likes that. And I don't want your practice to be wobbly. So think of a table that had 1,000 legs. If somebody came in and chopped off one of those 1,000 legs, we would still have a stability, right? So many of you are very dependent on one source of new patients. That might be paid traffic, that might be Facebook ads. And I really want to caution you that you need to diversify your marketing. You need the 1,000-leg table for your marketing, not a table of 1 leg. Because if that gets cut, if that's your only source and new patient acquisition cost dramatically goes up, your entire practice is going to wobble. We're going to have instability. And so by diversifying your marketing and getting really good systems in place, we call it your 6 lead funnels. And it is the system that we teach in our marketing key in our evolution system. It shows you exactly how to get very predictable outcomes of your new patient numbers with a healthy new patient acquisition cost. So no matter what happens, you won't have one marketing source get cut off and completely shut down your practice. We want to create stability by diversifying your marketing. So now you know your numbers, you're making data-driven decisions, you diversified your practice. That is step 1 of getting ready to weather winter. So if you're finding this content valuable, make sure you click this link. You do not want to go through winter by yourself. You want to go through it with a community, and we are here for you. In fact, come join our free Facebook community, which is called the Data-Driven Practice. Come sit around the fire with us and get warm as we help you light up your practice and prepare for this economic downturn. All right, this next step is so important because this is what % of your collections goes towards overhead. So when we look at a practice, depending on what type of practice it is, we see this margin anywhere from 50% up to 80%. that the overhead of the business consumes that much of the percentage of your collections. And you really need to make sure that you're prepared to fund your life on whatever margin you are producing. So if that collections vary and the margins vary, does that impact your paycheck? So you're going to go through an exercise to really look at what we call your P&L, your profit loss statement within QuickBooks. This is a financial statement that your bookkeeper or CPA should be sending to you on a regular basis. And one of the coolest things that we do in our Profit Accelerator system is we help you build a data dashboard that is a real-time P&L, so you can see this at all times. On that dashboard, we convert and calculate for you this exact number. What is the percent of operations that's consuming your collections? And there's an exercise that every business owner needs to go through to bulletproof their practice, and we call it coming up with your MVOO. This is your minimal viable operating overhead. That number is critical for you to know on if I'm going to serve my patient population, what is the lowest number that we could actually continue to operate on? If we cut out and remove some things, we could still deliver our services to our patients. It might be tight, it might be a little tougher, but we can do it and we can weather the storm. So when the sun is still shining and we have cash, it's a really good idea to pay down debt as quickly as we can. I would recommend looking at your debt table and looking at ways to consolidate that debt to a lower interest rate so your payments are going more to principal than to interest. If we can reduce that debt and that debt level, that means you can go into an economic downturn and your minimal viable operating overhead is lower. That leaves you room for more profitability. And that is the beauty and tip number 2 of understanding your MVOO. Now, before I go on to tip number 3, I want you to just put in the comments below, what question do you have about MVOO? How can I help you understand this at a greater level so that you have the confidence in moving forward with your team? Just comment below your question and I will answer those questions and support you to prepare you for what's coming. Now, tip number 3 is so important because it is the key that's helped me actually grow through economic downturns. I actually ended up increasing the size of my practice through our last economic downturn. And I want to give you the same gift, and that is actually investing in yourself. If you're watching this video, you're on that roadmap. That means you're a lover of content, you're a lover of learning, and I champion you because it's students, it's people that are coachable that end up surviving and thriving through these economic downturns. In fact, there are opportunities left and right. You will see with the economy change that there's going to be healthcare practices that don't weather the storm. And those patients are going to lose their healthcare provider. And they're going to be looking for other healthcare providers that can serve them. And if you will invest in yourself, learn how to operate a business, learn how to hire and train team members who become experts, learn how to make data-driven decisions, learn how to become a business operator, you will be blown away at the size of an organization that you can build that scales with the demand that's coming your way. Learn how to do incredible messaging and marketing and organically attracting these patients. That is how you will thrive through the economic downturn. That is how you will actually build a community that supports you and actually grows through what's coming. These are the steps to surviving any economic downturn, and I do truly believe that your greatest future, your greatest success is coming if you will follow these steps. Now, if you want a little warmth, if you want a little support, a little richness in your life, you just got to come join our free community. It's called the Data Driven Practice. We'll put the link below. Come join us. We will keep you warm. And actually, you will join some monsters in this community who are crushing their growth, and I guarantee will lead us through this storm. I will see you in the free community.